they would have owed him in guaranteed money as Oakland got out of the guarantee that they owed him, right? So I stand by, I wish they had gone in that direction. I also stand by this. I picked the Patriots before the season started, without Antonio Brown, obviously. I don't have nearly as much confidence in my pick with Antonio. And I agree with you. He is an electric player. And furthermore, and further complicating the decision-making here, he is a legendary, great practice player. High energy, highly motivated to practice. Well, obviously, Bill Belichick loves that. That's what he loved about Chad Johnson Ochocinco, right? That he practiced so hard. Well, all that adds up to Randy Moss. What happened with Randy Moss? You had him for 3 years and 4 games, and you have nothing to show for it in the way of a Lombardi trophy, right? And I fear that yesterday I saw them already falling into the Randy Moss trap. The 2000 Patriots got mossed. They got to the Super Bowl, and they threw it 48 times to running it only 16 times, and they ended up losing 17-14. In this case, yesterday, Antonio Brown, in his first action with the New England Patriots, got 8 targets. Help me out. You got the play-by-play there and all the stats, right?
8.
Was that team leading 8 targets? Yes.
Doubled everybody else.
Doubled. Well, I think, didn't Josh have 5 at the bottom? He got 5 targets?
No, 5 targets. Yeah, 5 targets.
Okay, so it almost doubled. But the Super Bowl MVP was Julian Edelman.
4 for 4.
So how would you feel in your heart of hearts? You would never say this publicly, but how would you feel after that game if you're in Julian's shoes and you were the Super Bowl MVP and you got 4 targets in that game and Antonio got 8? How would you feel?
Well,
Would you feel a little queasy here? Like, is this where we're going with this? Is this...
I've been here for the longest. I asked the girl to dance first, and here's the guy that just comes to the party, and she dances with him.
Okay.
Tommy, it's me. It's Jules.
It's Jules.
You know, little Jules.
Jules.
We went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and throw passes, and we all go vacation together. Come on.
Jules is the 2nd leading receiver in all-time history postseason games. Again, that's because he's played so many games with that quarterback. But the point is, he's done a whole lot. How would you feel if you're Josh Gordon and you have worked so hard to defeat your demons and get back into the good graces of the New England Patriots, and you are a starting receiver, and even though you got 5 targets, they didn't add up to a whole lot of yards, and help me out. He is about to be relegated to 2nd string.
Well, Skip, we talked about this. That's like, now, you look at what transpired the first week. We saw Dorsett play a big role. We also saw Josh Gordon. I said, now, somebody's about to lose some catches.
Yeah, you did mention
that's just the way it's going to shape out. He's too talented not to get him the ball, and he's going to win. He's going to win, other than Edelman, who plays closer to the quarterback, and his route tree is shorter than an outside receiver. Antonio Brown's going to beat everybody else getting open.
He will. And don't give me after the game, and I love Tom Brady, obviously, but don't give me, I'm just looking for the open, I'm hitting the open receiver. Against that team and that defense, everybody's open. You can just say you.
Who do you want?
I'll do you. Shannon Sharp, today I'm going to get you 10 catches for $2, for 200, right? If you want that, you can get it. So Tom's also making a statement, and as is Josh McDaniels with the play calls, we're going to show you we can integrate him like that. And we'll show you he is maybe the best receiver in football right now, and we are going A-B heavy. Antonio Moss. That's what happened yesterday. So that's where we are headed. And yet, do I think this will work long term? I do not. And I'm going to hark back to what the Hall of Famer across from me told me early on. I'm going to go back to 2016. You said the Pittsburgh Steelers should cut bait, right? Okay, so you've been out on him from the start. Well, you shouldn't be in on him now unless you're trying to sabotage my Super Bowl pick.
No. But the thing is, Skip, is he going to change? See, the thing is, my only concern with the Raiders, I'm like, nobody in the Raiders organization is going to be able to hold this dude accountable. But he goes to the perfect situation. He goes to a situation where not only will the head coach hold you accountable, but there are guys in that locker room that's been there for an extended period of time. You have Tom Brady. You have a Devin McCourty. You have a Julian Edelman. You have guys that have been there, that have won there, and says your behavior is unacceptable and is not conducive for winning. And I believe if he were to act up, Coach Belichick would get him out.
Okay, so I'm going to hark back, if we could see it one more time, to the initial Instagram post from AB after he had signed with the Patriots. And I'm going to remind you, when you see this, this is AB, little caricature, sitting on a pile of cash with the caption of "The Patriot Way." The Patriot Way? I'm going to remind you, he knew full well what was coming down the pike.
Right.
A lawsuit was coming because, according to all the reports, he had been negotiating with her side for several months over a settlement.
And the deadline was Sunday. Well, so yesterday was a week ago.
A week ago,
yes.
Okay? So he knows this is coming, and he knows he's saying no to her demands of whatever it was. There was a report of
$2 million.
$2+ million, they said, okay? So he knows this is coming, and yet he posts that. That's the first really bad sign, because now it looks like this is going to empower him. This is going to further entitle him, further embolden him. He's feeling invincible. Belichick took me, right? And I'm above this. And again, I'm not picking side. I don't say he's guilty or not. I have no idea. I'm just telling you that right now he must feel on top of the world, because he's a New England Patriot with a team-high 8 targets.
Well, Skip, change normally comes about once a person hit rock's bottom. He get traded from the Steelers for a 3rd and a 5th, and goes to the Raiders. Okay, the Raiders cuts him so they don't have to pay the guaranteed money. And within hours, he's picked up by the defending Super Bowl champ. So he's like, what have I lost? You mentioned, like, okay, so what? I'm not guaranteed the $15 million next year in 2020, but I got it guaranteed for this year. I got 14, 15 guaranteed this year. So he really hasn't lost anything. He's looking at, like, my behavior. I've gotten rewarded. I go from a team that probably wasn't going to make the playoffs, wasn't going to win maybe 5, 6 ball games, to a team that could possibly go 14-2, 15-1, who knows, 16-0 and win the Super Bowl. So I won. I win.
Yeah, yesterday he could have been a victim of Patrick Mahomes in Oakland.
Yes.
Because Patrick Mahomes just went wild in the second quarter. Those 4 touchdowns just in that quarter, and that's all the points they score. But 28-10, if AB had been on the other side, on the Oakland side, I don't think it would have changed that outcome.
Well, Skip, it might have been, he might have threw for more yards, because at least they'd have been scoring. They kept it going back and forth, and so he'd had to keep scoring. But, you know, Skip, and people like, well, the settlement, $2 million, why didn't AB? It's easy for someone to say AB should have settled this. But AB doesn't feel he's done anything wrong. I'm not saying that he did. I'm not saying that he did. I don't say she's right, he's wrong. But I'm saying, Skip, it's almost like if someone charges you, let's just say the DA charges you with a crime that you don't feel you committed, and the sentence is 25 years.
I got it.
If you admit to it, I'll give you 5.
Right.
You're like, but I didn't do anything.
I know you would dig in on that one and say, on principle alone, you'd say no.
No.
And his contention is, through his lawyer, it was consensual.
Yes.
Okay.
But Skip, I've talked to attorneys that handle this exclusively. He said, Shannon, you'd be surprised. He says, because they don't want this to come out. Sometimes they've been in compromising situations. They're married, they see him doing something they shouldn't do, and they stand more to lose if this were to come out, as opposed to paying $1 million, $4 million. But in a situation like this, Skip, AB is looking at it like, man, honestly, it was a consensual relationship. And somehow it went sideways. Maybe I said I no longer wanted to be in this, and something happened. But it's easy for people to say, $2 million, that's nothing. $2 million is a lot of money. $2 million is a lot of money when you feel you've done nothing wrong.
Okay, so back to the football field. If, in fact, he stays eligible the rest of this football season, which is possible, I believe he will end up being more trouble than he's worth. I also believe Tom Brady might just throw his way right back into the MVP race with Patrick Mahomes. Because with this, you've got your Moss. It's in a different package, obviously, smaller, quicker, different routes, but still lethal. So Brady might just start putting up more record-type numbers the way he did in 07. He might get into the MVP battle with Mahomes that will lead up to a crescendo late in the year when they go to Foxborough, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, Skip, because, okay, they're talking to her today. At some point, you got to talk to AB, because you just can't hear her side of the story and take it at face value without hearing his side of the story. So normally when they do these type interviews, it's normally on his day off. Well, Tuesday's his day off. Well, if you haven't scheduled that, so now you got to wait another week. So guess what, Skip? He plays this week. So that's 2 weeks that's gone by. and the NFL hasn't talked to him.
Okay.
So how long does this process go? Is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 8 weeks?
I don't
At
know.
some point in time, Skip, you got to the NFL's going to have to make a decision here. I believe it's going to need to come sooner rather than later. But at some point in time, if you're talking to her today, you're going to probably need to talk to AB within the next week or two.
Okay, and obviously Mike Florio reported that the player who had witnessed some of their interaction was his cousin, Hollywood Brown.
Right.
Who's obviously lighting it up for the Baltimore Ravens. So would the NFL want to interview him because he could get called as a key witness in the civil suit?
Yes.
He doesn't face any accusations.
No,
That's
no.
what they're saying as well.
No, just his viewpoint on it.
On it.
And obviously he's Antonio's cousin, very close.
Yeah.
So I don't know how objective he could be, but you could certainly check with him and interview him.
Yes, you absolutely would. But Skip, in this situation, I don't really think anybody, if you're football related, I don't think anybody's surprised that AB played because this is the way the Patriots, this is standard operating procedure.
Well, and they say about the exempt list, it requires a criminal charge or at least enough evidence on the part of an NFL investigation to think that you've violated at least the conduct code. Right?
Correct.
So they're going to start that process today.
Right, and without interviewing anyone, it made it virtually impossible for them to. So you've drawn this conclusion that he had done something wrong without talking to anyone, not talking to him, not talking to her. So I get it. I agree with you. You wish the Patriots, and so do I, for just once, say, you know what,
Just
guys,
said no.
we're just gonna wait it out. We're playing the Dolphins. Basically, we're playing the #1 team in college. That's what the Dolphins are. They're ranked ahead of Clemson and Alabama right now, Skip. So if they were a college, they would be 1, Clemson would be 2, Alabama would be 3, and so yada yada yada. You know what? I think we can win this game without AB, and then we can move on from here.
Okay, I'm going to say this one more time. The worst nightmare for Roger Goodell in the NFL would be if this goes on to a jury trial and the jury finds in her favor. The NFL would look really bad.
It'd look horrible.
Could look Ray Rice bad.
Yes.
I guess that's a risk they're willing to take at this point. Patriots as well. The 72nd receiver to catch a touchdown pass from Tom Brady. Just to put that in perspective.
Ooh, that's a lot.
The longevity.
I might need to go back and try to get me one.
I mean, you probably could have had a few.
Well, I saw Jason Witten get one yesterday, so I can get one.
Is that not a sweet strike?
You know what I'm starting to enjoy, though? Talking about the Cowboys. There's just so much there. Another big performance from Dak. Has he proven anything to this guy, maybe? We'll answer that next. Don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports Channel on SiriusXM. We will be